in situations like that. And best example I can give you is the people who stoned Jesus when he died. They saw it. I think we've made a mistake here. You know what I mean? Right there and then. You know what I mean? So a lot of people came forward, and a lot of people were remorseful. A lot of people were hurt. A lot of people knew just how valuable Caristo was to our industry. Not just me. Me was a special case because the days leading towards my album release party and my album release itself, he was always as supportive. He used to call me and always pitching these good ideas of how we're going to promote the album and how big it was going to be. So when I heard he died, it was unbelievable. You know what I mean? Even up to now, it's kind of hard to really believe it. You know, yeah. But I believe God has better plan.
Definitely, definitely. The last time that we were together here was in January. I remember very well. You know, it was the time when you came to talk about the video for your gospel hit together
Yeah,
with
Mutima
Ephraim, exactly, Mutima, and of which has going to be one of the best songs so far. I think you've done a lot of work really since then up to date. You've been busy.
Yeah. Even at this time in my career where I feel like we've done everything. We've won Video of the Year, Song of the Year, Album of the Year. We've done so much in our industry. It's important to remain hungry. It's important to remain passionate, to want to do more. You know what I mean? When I was getting into the industry, all I wanted was to make a song that would play in my living room. You know what I mean? But after I did that, I wanted to make a song that would play on radio. After we did that, I wanted to make a song that would be big countrywide. Till it got to a point where I wanted to be the biggest artist in the country. So now, I should want to be the biggest artist on the continent. You know what I mean? It should be, our goal should become bigger and bigger as we after every milestone, as we achieve our goals, we should always think bigger and bigger. That's how the industry grows. So yeah, that's where I am right now. I'm still trying to do as much as I can with the talent that God gave me.
Interesting. Ghetto King is out.
Ghetto president.
Ghetto President actually
Yeah.
is out. By the statement, Ghetto President, what were you trying to highlight there? Do you have some political ambitions where one day you feel like you could literally be the president of this country?
What I tell people is politics are the order of the day. You know what I mean? Even just something as simple as the price of tomato at the market is decided by the decisions that are made by politicians. You know what I mean? The crime rates in the neighborhood is as a result of unemployment. Unemployment as a result of these decisions that these politicians make. A lot of things. The price of fuel, transport, everything that you see around. The factor there is these decisions that these politicians make. So it's very important for every Zambian out there to be involved in politics. Politicians capitalize on our ignorances. That's why they show up when it's time to vote after squatted. So people need to be involved in the process. People need to ask questions, to engage these arguments. That's the only way that our country will get better. That's the only way that these politicians that we put in these offices will be held accountable.
Okay.
Yes, so maybe in the future, somewhere. But as for now, I'm just happy that I have a voice and a gift, and I have influence, and I can use the influence that I have to highlight certain things that happen in our society, and I can use my voice to endorse a particular person that I think can really bring out like change in our society. We always talk about this. Like a lot of people tell me, as a musician, you're not supposed to be partisan. You're supposed to be non-partisan. You are supposed to just stand and I really agree with that. But if I feel like you, my brother, you are the right person for the job, and you can really change the lives of my people out there. I should be able to tell people, hello, uyu muvotereni kwachinje fintu, you know, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
So there are people like Mandela who changed the course of a lot of not just South Africans but Africans. You know what I mean? People who rooted for Mandela right now are thought of as heroes, as people who did the right thing. You know what I mean? So it's the same case with entertainers, and if we endorse the right person, there's nothing wrong with that. If we endorse someone for the right reasons, not for money, not for what you're getting in return, but for the right reasons. If you feel like this guy is the right guy for the job and he can really change this country for the better, why not endorse him?
Interesting,
Yeah.
interesting. I'm here to talk more about that, because obviously some of the people that getting involved in politics are people that you've worked with before.
Yeah.
For example, Pilato, J.K. Peterson as well. So, it seems like, sometimes it's very difficult to separate politics from what we do almost every day.
Yeah.
But now, when we look at your project, this is not the first album that you've done.
No, it's
You
the
have
fourth, actually.
Actually, this is the fourth album. You have had other previous 3 albums.
Mhm.
Can we say this album is different from the other 3?
Every album is different. Every album is supposed to be different because there's growth.
Mhm.
You know, the first album was me putting out music that I've worked on basically my whole life. It's that sort of thing. My first album had songs like Feeding, Nangwanching. These are songs like the first time you ever heard of Makitu on a national platform is those songs.
Mhm.
But the second album, Legendary, was different because now you have experienced the fame, the industry, and you know a little more about. The third album was Zero to Hero. Now it's just putting all those things together and just presenting a project. This album is different because it's a different time. Music is a business, and like any business, you study your market, you study your audience, and then you give them what you think they would like or what you think they would buy. But again, they say a good artist makes music that people want to listen to, but a great artist makes music that people need to listen to. You know what I mean? So there should be a balance between just what people want to hear, but also what you need them to hear.
So what do you put yourself between a good artist and a great artist there?
I'm a very great artist. Anyway, so the album is a themed album. It's called Ghetto President because I feel like if you grew up in Mrs. Compound and then people watch on this show today, you inspire a lot of people who feel like, wow, I can also make it to that stage. You know what I mean? So the people who inspire the ghetto or people who came from very humble beginnings and have made it are people who I consider that one is a ghetto president. You know what I mean? They have so much influence and people look up to them so much that, yeah. So that's the concept around it. It's a concept album. Even the songs that are not really talking about social issues still have ghetto orientation. They are told from a ghetto point of view. The stories, the vocabulary, even when the sound might be Western or might be Caribbean or American, but all the songs have that element in them.
Interesting. This is the 4th album,
Yeah.
but Makitu as a trademark has been built not on these 4 albums, but even on other projects that you've done in collaborations with other artists. Because I believe you were known way before you even did the 4 albums.
Yeah,
Your
man.
name has been built beyond the 4 albums. You've won awards not because of the 4 albums, but because of your presentation and, of course, of your branding. Is there anything that you feel you still need to do to prove yourself?
It depends, man. It depends. Like I said, there are levels to this. 28 2016 is exactly 10 years since the first award that I ever won. The first award we ever won was This Is Why I'm Hot, most controversial video of the year in 2008. So for the last 10 years, I've been making music that's big in the country, you know what I mean? So to really prove myself is not really the issue here. It's every now and then people feel like, okay, so this is the biggest artist, you know what I mean? So if you're amongst the 5 biggest artists in the country, I'm good being one of the 5 biggest artists in the country, you know what I mean? But what we should really aim at as Zambian artists is not to compete against each other. That's small, man. We've been doing that for years. I think what you should really focus on is pushing our industry out there, trying to cross borders. And the only way that we're going to cross borders is when we build our industry. The only way we're going to build our industry is when we unite as artists and we speak as one voice. That's why I've been encouraging a lot of artists to join ZAM or to support each other's initiatives, because then if Roberto is a big artist who is able to finance a tour in SA or is able to make a mark in Nigeria, then it opens a door for all of us, you know, that sort of thing. So in terms of proving myself here, I don't think that's my primary goal. I don't even look at it like that. Even when we have like a big song, for example, we've had like a bunch of songs that were big last couple months, like Banjo or Van Dam or Binchanyuko for a long time. I'm happy for these guys because I feel like, wow, that's a great song, you know what I mean? This is the type of music we need. So I don't think I need to prove myself to anybody anymore, especially not in this country, maybe out there. Yeah.
Interesting. Do you know that as we speak, we have people outside Zambia dancing to your music and who look forward to seeing you perform live on the stage?
Sure.
US, the UK, Australia, and of course even the same Nigeria that we look up to as a country that has got a very good thriving entertainment industry. We have a section of society in these countries that have heard of Makitu and yet they've never seen him perform on stage, and they would really love to see him perform on stage.
This is what happened. Like, this is the last album we did was in 2013, Zero to Hero, and in 2013 I felt like we've done everything we can do here. And now I had to take a step to just take my music out there. So what I did is I entered into this competition called the Big Brother Africa. Everybody knows about that. And I went there with the sole purpose of putting my name out there. You know what I mean? So a lot of people might argue this and say, Wadirusa, but my sole purpose wasn't even for the money. It was just for me to just put out my music there. That's why when I got there, I made sure that my music was playing in the house, that every challenge they gave us, I was on the music side, just so people could at least know a bit about my musical side.
Interesting.
So even now, there are places where I go to and I look familiar. You know what I mean? Especially people who are Big Brother viewers and fans. You know what I mean? I look familiar, and once they just hear the name, they know, they can relate. All I need to do now is attach my music to the familiar face and name. Chapwa.
Interesting. Interesting. Recently, Zambia of late has seen an increasing number of international artists coming to the country. Very soon we're going to be having the likes of Techno, the likes of Joe Lewis Thomas, the likes of Brian McKnight. You're a very romantic guy, that's why you are married. But at the end of the day, I'm sure that Joe Lewis Thomas in fact, grew up listening to, I Believe in You.
Lewis. Joe Thomas.
Exactly. Do you think as an industry, are we getting the benefits of their visit, the visits of all these, big names that have been coming, Boys to Men, what, name them. Are we getting the benefits of their visits?
A lot of arguments that have been made are not really valid arguments. People say, okay, why are you paying these guys so much money and paying these artists peanuts? First of all, you're not supposed to be paid the same amount of money. You know what I mean? Even when I go to Kitwe to perform and there are local artists in Kitwe, they're not going to pay me the same amount that they're paying local artists. Impossible. They're definitely going to pay me more. You know what I mean? So the international act is going to be paid more money, as they should be. You know that it's logic. You know what I mean? Even when I go to SA, for example, and then there's another local artist who's performing, there are times when they would pay me more money than they would pay that artist. Because I'm to me that, hello boy, at Kwataka event on this day, we have an international act coming from Zambia to perform, and they're not going to charge the same thing. It's just, but you see, the notion that's there is that, no, when they come in the country, they need to do A, B, C, D. The industry need to benefit. But really, those guys are just paid to come here and perform. You know what I mean? You can't hire me to go and perform in Mongo and then expect me to have a workshop with Mongo artists and to teach them stage work, and unless you pay me to do that. But if you just paid me to go and perform there, I'll just go there and perform. You know what I mean? So there are a lot of issues that are raised, like in terms of collaborations, like, okay, these guys need to come and they need to meet our artists and they need to collaborate. All that stuff can happen, but you should remember that there's always a contract before these artists come, and they know exactly what. So if you're just paying for a performance, that's what you get. So unless we say, okay, so when these guys come, they are supposed to interact with our Zambian industry musicians here. They're supposed to collaborate with them. They're supposed to, if all that stuff is in the contract, then yeah, maybe we should be making noise about it happening. But if an artist like Joe Thomas is just here to perform, I don't think they need to really, we will require them to start doing all these extra things that they know nothing about, that sort of thing. A lot of that stuff that we complain about needs to be handled by promoters. And promoters for themselves, it's a business. All I want to do, most of all, like the first thing I want to do is to make money off my event. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of homework that should be done between just promoters and the industry itself. When something like this is happening, if musicians spoke as one voice, obviously through ZAM, then it would be easy for ZAM to make that connection with the promoters and say, oh, since you're having this guy come over, what if we did this and this and this and this? Oh, boys are okay. So we can find a way that we can raise that money and have it done so that this guy can either do a workshop or a talk with this artist, or can do a collab with one or two artists and stuff like that. But if an artist comes here, I don't really expect them to start doing all these things that we mostly talk about. Of course, there are issues of backstage, but like I said, all that is in the hands of the promoters, and this is Zambia being Zambia. You know what I mean? It's a very young industry that's just mushrooming, that's just growing. So there are a lot of things that we're learning, and to the people out there, keep complaining, keep tweeting. That's the only way we're going to grow, is if we talk about these things, not just shut everything down. But if people have opinions and they have issues, they should be brought forward, and we should be able to talk about them and move forward.
Interesting. Another issue that I think I was hoping that you are going to touch on was on the issue now of who's supposed to open the stage for that international act, and of course, how is it supposed to be done and stuff? Because I think you remember very well that it also raised a lot of talk in relation to the Zambian artists. All they do is just open stages for these guys. Beyond that, nothing more. You've talked about a very good point here: contractual obligations. I think contractual obligations need to be looked at very well. Promoters need to do their own jobs and stuff like that. But is it who's supposed to open the stage?
There's something called a headliner. Headliner is the main act. You know what I mean? So if contacted to open for a secular for an international act, it's right there in board white and black. The opening act. You know what I mean? If you contact me and say, so Kofi Alaisa Embe, then you Alaisa over headliner. Then I'm the headliner. So it's the promoter. At the end of the day, this is entertainment, man. There's nothing written in stone. It's entertainment, and we do whatever excites fans. You know what I mean? There are events where you go to and know for a fact that tuavika poyombo is pakwamba fyapa abantu balatamba fyo ibaleya. So it's better to building. We start with the less popular artists, then we build towards the end. Believe me, if I was a bigger artist than Techno, or if people would pay more money to watch me than Techno would perform before me. That's just the way it is. But if more Zambians are eager to watch Techno than me, then I'd perform first. That's just logic. You know, that sort of thing. Quite about business at the end of the day, you know what I mean? And it's a big industry at the end of the day. They are paying millions of kwacha for events like that, to hire the stadium, to fly all those 15 guys from Nigeria here. They have a floor manager. They plan these things, you know. There are just a lot of things that happen behind the scenes that the fans or the audience knows nothing about. For example, there's talk about how musician problem in Zambia mufika 23 hours midnight wafika kushoyo mustay advertise at 19 hours too late. But what they don't know is I'm hired as Makitu to perform at a certain club, and they'll tell me like, so we want you to perform at 23 hours. You dig? I'm hired. I know. The contract says 23 hours. So what's happening there is the promoter wants to sell a few beers and have enough money to pay me at the end of the day. So he doesn't want me to perform at 19 hours and then at 20 hours everybody goes home. And then how is he going to pay me? You know, that sort of thing. So there are all those politics behind the scenes that people don't know about. But at some point, it has to work. And at some point, I really agree that at the end of the day, it's on my name. You know what I mean? People are not going to complain about the manager in the back. They're going to complain about me and how I come late to these events. But it's not every single day that I have to explain to these people. I go on stage and start telling them, you know, that sort of thing. I'll take one for the team. But so there are a lot of things that people need to understand. Of course, we need to be more professional than we are. We need to do a lot more to just, earn our money.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm still talking to Makitu, trying to get his opinion on a number of issues. And frankly speaking, I love the way he is addressing some of these things. And if you're a promoter and of course you're an entertainer, you are into this entertainment business, I think mark some of the words that Makitu is actually using. For example, contractual obligations. Mark that word. That's why it's important that, if you're an artist, get into some sort of management. Get into some sort of management so that even the parts of a contract that you don't understand, trust me, you have somebody to interpret them. You'll be shocked that, Makitu is a very good friend of mine. But do you know that if I'm organizing a show, I cannot call Makitu directly and tell him, boy, isakulika show can't, ninkwataka show. Then he comes because I'm a friend. No, because, once that gets into that level, then I need first of all to ask the manager, oh, okay, I need Mark 2 for this particular show. Then the manager will talk to Mark 2, Mark 2, show is, so what are we going to do? So now it will depend on Mark 2, either to charge me the way he charges at that particular level, standard, or to say, okay, Nelson is a friend of mine, so, okay, I'll have to pay like, at least for this and this and this and this is okay. Okay, and I've come across such things whereby, some people have gone to hate these artists because they're saying, no, in fact, there's promote and promote, but kumita na show akan and stuff like that. But I think, Mark 2 has used terms such as, entertainment is business, contract obligations, names, and so on. And on top of that, management as well. So if you're an artist out there, it's important that you start grasping those particular aspects if you are definitely to grow your brand and, of course, to grow, your art as well. Let's get to another, a critical issue as well. You've spoken, I think, in the space of 30 minutes that we've talked. You've spoken about ZAM more than 3 times now. Is that a show of confidence in these guys?
Really, when I talk about ZAM, I don't even look at it as these guys. I look at it as us.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, there's strength in numbers. We only move forward and only look serious, or we speak from a stand of strength when we are a lot of us. You know what I mean? And ZAM is just like a meeting place. All artists come together. It's called ZAM. It's an association. So the more we are, the better. Because now we're going to sit down and say, okay, so this is what we want to do. This is what needs to happen. And then we'll appoint a representative. There's actually a representative who is going to speak on our behalf. So we speak from a place of strength, that sort of thing. So obviously, every reasonable artist out there knows that, okay, look, it hasn't been that impressive. They haven't really changed a lot of things. But that will only happen when once and to Isapamoto to reach that side. Okay, so me, I can't even condemn ZAM if I'm not in ZAM, that sort of thing. I need to be there for me to even start saying, okay, that guy, no, Mbapa needs to register, you know what I mean? Not I haven't even joined, then I'm throwing shade. I think it's unfair. What we need to do is all come together, join ZAM. Then if it's not working, then you do you. But to all the artists out there, I'll challenge you. Okay, so what do you lose if you're with ZAM? What do you lose? Because I know what I'm going to gain, what you're going to gain. What you're going to gain is if you join ZAM, you have an association that's got so many influential people speaking with one voice. Hence, it'll be hard for anyone to ignore. But if you don't join, what are you losing? What are you gaining? So, no matter how disappointed it has been in the past, the only way forward is to join it and see how we can improve it.
Interesting. We have seen a lot of acts involving Slap D and Sheffy sharing the stage.
Yeah.
A lot of shows and, of course, a lot of performances. We've seen Slap D sharing, the stage with Sheffy. It's rare that people have seen you sharing the stage with Slap D.
Really?
Are you still having that which started way back in 2000 and I'm even trying to remember the time that we had Mark 2 Slap D stuff.
Yeah.
Are we still having that?
No, man. It's actually sad that you brought it up, and a lot of other people kind of still bring it up. Like, it's old news, and we've done a lot of gigs together, and we've done a lot of stuff together that will really tell you that nothing like that is happening now. That all that is in our past. Both of us have really tried to show the world that we're more mature people now, and we're more, what can I say, we realize that uniting the industry is the best way forward. If two big guys who represent two most important or most influential regions in the country, in terms of music, of course, LSK and the corporate belt. If two of them are at loggerheads, then obviously you're separating the industry. Obviously, people have to take sides. And right now, that's not what you need for the industry. You need people to stand together and speak as one voice. We've done a lot of shows together. We're doing the techno show together. We did a tour in Australia together. We've done a number of stuff, you know. One of the producers on my album is partly signed under XYZ Stash. So yeah, we've done a lot of stuff together.
Oh, interesting. So when you guys are doing stuff, do you guys talk?
Of course, why not?
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, it's done and dusted. Okay, so there is not any more. It's been done actually for quite some time now. I think ever since he released his, if I'm not mistaken, his second project. I think the time he released the second project, I think we saw a different magnitude altogether as compared to the previous as well. So these guys have definitely are no longer they're no longer on loggerheads, done great shows together and stuff like that. Great album, I must say. The Ghetto President is.
Thank you so much. What we tried to do is try and have a song for almost everybody. So it's they're very, of course, it's a concept album that's told from a ghetto point of view, and the vocabulary, the messaging, the presentation, the tone of the voice, everything is ghetto oriented. But of course, it's got different sounds. There are gospel songs on the album, there are love songs on the album, there are conscious songs on the album, there are hip hop songs on the album. So yeah, it's a very diverse album, and I'm sure there's just one or two songs that you like from the album. Yeah.
Recently, we've seen quite a lot of videos from you. Yeah, trust me, that the time that I started knowing about you, 2007, 8, somewhere there, the time that now we started knowing each other, you were a person who enjoyed a lot of background, good music, but background, all videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Recently, we've seen 2, 3, 4, 5 videos anyway. But from this particular album, if I'm not mistaken, really, of which I bet to be corrected on that, we have Wemtima. Our video. Are we expected to see more videos?
Yeah, we've actually shot 2 videos. One is for Everything Is Better, the song that features Exile. We've shot it already. Hopefully we'll put it out by the weekend. We've also shot for We Shall Rise, which is like the third track on the album. We shot it with Big Deal Graphics. So we shot 2 videos already. Sometimes when you listen to a song, you have your own picture in your head, that sort of thing. There's just sometimes when you listen to a song and you see 2 people walking on the beach, and there are songs that that sort of thing. But what I try to do in most cases, if I can, is really tell my story and give you the picture the same way I saw it when writing the song. So a video is always part of the presentation, so that people don't just think create their own pictures, paint their own pictures.
Okay, great. So now, as we get close to the end, let me also now get opinions from you in relation to something that I think we discussed partly earlier. But Peterson has, I don't want to use the term officially gotten into politics, but he is trying to take up a different challenge.
Tico says.
Exactly. Aiko says such a bad. He's standing on the mayoral position. Pilato, on the other hand, has been, he's been, I don't know whether it's misunderstood, miscited, misrepresented. I don't know whichever to pick, but we know where he is when it comes to politics. Jackie, on the other hand, he's got his own stance as well when it comes to politics. So we've got 3 very highly influential people in actively involved in politics now.
Speaking very diverse.
And speaking very different languages, really. Your opinion?
Yeah, like I said, with great power comes great responsibility, and you need to use your voice. You need to speak for a lot of voiceless people out there. People who will never be heard if you don't speak, you know. But as long as you're speaking for the right reasons, even your conscience will be clear, you know. One thing about musicians is, like I said, music is a business. These people study Zambians before they release a song. They study what type of music they're listening to, what type of social issues they're going through, what is trending, and all those things. So, a musician who's talking politics has already done his homework. He knows what people need and what people are crying for. You know what I mean? And the constitution of Zambia, as long as you meet the qualifications, you know, that sort of thing. Another person that you forgot to mention is Savoy.
Savoy Imboil, actually,
yeah,
yes.
Is someone who's in the industry and is still highly regarded as one of Zambia's legends. You know, Kangwachileshe is also someone who was in the entertainment industry and someone who had fame on TV, you know, that sort of thing. So all these people are influential people who have got people already supporting them even before they got into politics, you know. Like I said at the beginning, at the end of the day, as long as you are doing it for the right reasons, your conscience will be clear. There are a number of times when I've stood on the podium and endorsed people, you know, and it's because of not because of the money that they're paying me. If you remember very well, I said this on my page last time, and it got me into a lot of trouble. I said East Point pays me more money than PF ever paid me to do it. You know what I mean? So sometimes you go on a platform and endorse a certain artist not because they're paying you, but because you believe in what they can do and that they can really change our country. It's very important that more entertainers, more musicians, more people who have so much influence on our people start taking up these challenges, start stepping forward and saying, hey, I believe I can make a difference. And instead of just because they mean upper blue or upper orange, I think a lot more people will trust people who they've known and they've seen, and people of influence.
Okay. Wow, interesting. I don't know whether this could be too early to talk about, but ghetto president is out, and of course we have 5 months up to the month end. How is your schedule starting now? Because obviously I don't know whether you go back in the studio, record more, or now maybe you concentrate much on pushing for this project, of which I think this is a project that is pushing itself. It doesn't really need MK to push it.
Yeah, but first of all, what we need to do is we need to realize that it's a new world, it's a new time. You know what I mean? And even when you buy a car today, it doesn't come with a CD player. Nowadays, people listen to music on their phones, or via Bluetooth, or on a memory card, or on a flash disk, and stuff like that. Everything is becoming digital, you know. We need to educate our people on how they can buy music online or they can stream the music online. And that's how I'm promoting my album. Of course, I've got my album in a number of stores almost in every city now, but I've also put it on iTunes, on Amazon, on Spotify, and all those other platforms, because that's the way forward. People are always on their phones. They don't say that go back to Ambo Kwashe Chirimba Umfwe. You know, that sort of thing. People are on their phones. So we still need to do more promotion in terms of doing that. So anyway, I'm here to talk about my album. You had me talking politics for 20 minutes. Anyway, so The Ghetto President. It's an album that really I took time to record. You know, the last time we put out a project was in 2013. This is 4 to 5 years later, you know what I mean? And with this one, I just wanted to inspire our people and just remind them of how much we can achieve if we just believe and remain hopeful and stand together. So that's what the album is about. It's got a lot of motivational songs like Throwback, We Shall Rise, Zambian Glory. It's got a lot of motivation music, you know, just so I could inspire young people out there. The album also features FM. I think that's the only song that we put out before the album, Mutima Wandi. It features Dave. It features Shefi. I haven't worked with Shefi on my project for a long time. So yeah, it features Shefi. It features Doc G. It features Drifter. It features J Max. We had Stash produce something on it. Cream Dollar produced something on it. Kekero produced something on it. There's a guy from Radio Cafe Studio called Solomon Plate. He also produced something in it. And yeah, so it's an amazing project. If you haven't really gotten a chance to listen to it, just go on my Facebook page or on my Instagram page or on my Twitter page, and you find all the information on where you can find a physical copy, but also where you can buy the music online. Yeah.
Interesting. So now, for the next five months remaining before this year ends, what are your plans?
We've shot videos already. We've shot 2 videos already. We're trying to see if we can do 2 more videos. There's a song called Mwenze Kuti. It's got bars. I think we shoot for that one too, and bring it back again featuring Shefi. I'm sure we will shoot that for that one again. So maybe for the next 2 months, my focus will be on just shooting videos and really trying to present the work in a way that I'll really take my time and just promote this album. Sometimes a lot of music kulabati. The artist releases a song 2-3 weeks. But I think what we need to do is promote the music and make sure it's on international platforms also, not just promoting yo Indimba, Zambian music blog, but also on international platforms where people can be able to access the music all over the world. But yeah, so get the album, and if it's trash, feel free to email me or to tweet and tell me it's trash. But I'm sure you'll love it. It's got a song for almost everybody out there.
Now you understand why it's easy to talk about almost everything with you, because it flows with how you handle your music. Just your album, just one single album with just about maybe 10 to 13 songs, you'd find that there is a song that is speaking about anything. Okay, there's a song talking about love, talking about politics, talking about what's happening on the streets, talking about God and stuff like that. So now, just isolating one and talking about one issue, it's quite very difficult at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's not even difficult as per se, but it's limiting. You know what I mean?
That's quite limited.
I've had a lot of people who tell me like, gospel gospel. And what I tell people is, look, I'm a Christian. I've been for a long time. Don't judge the music. And if I just sing gospel music, I'm limiting myself to talk about one specific topic, and even God Himself wants me to address issues. Like, for example, if people are dying of AIDS, I need to talk about that. It's got nothing to do with God. It's just health. You know what I mean? But it will help my people. God would want me to talk about that. He's the one who gave me this talent. You know what I mean? This train of thought. If he wants me to talk about unity, it's got nothing to do with God. But we need to unite and we need to educate our people about unity. You know what I mean? So I can't talk about one specific thing, no matter what it is. No, I think even God himself would want me to talk, be diverse and talk about all these issues that affect our communities.
I agree with you. Well, Mr. Ghetto President, good to have you today.
Thank you so much.
And of course, thank you so much for the great work done on this particular album. The picture that you put up there is amazing. When I looked at it, I was like, oh, so Makitu now is in movies. Look more of a movie.
Yeah, man, and hopefully you will start doing that too, man. It's just time, man. So much to do, too little time.
You should think about it.
But we'll keep pushing, keep pushing,
Yeah, trust me.
And I love what you guys are doing here. I watch QTV every day. I'm someone who's very patriotic. I love my Zambian TV, you know what I mean? So I love what you guys are doing here, and it would be a shame to talk about you guys after you die, you know what I mean? Even now, I still speak highly of a lot of people and appreciate them while they're still here. Give them flowers while they can still smell them, Muhammad.
Definitely.
Yes, that, so.
Well, good to see you once again.
Thank you so much.
And of course, we'll definitely get you back very soon.
Bless.
Appreciate it. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that was MK, my guest on the show today. The Ghetto President album is out. Trust me, believe me, when I looked at the poster, the first time it was posted on our social media, I looked at it. I didn't want to call him, but I looked at it, and the first thing that just came into my mind was like, oh, this looks to be a great movie. Before I even thought of it being, the cover page for an album. Not until, Schuster started, posting it and, of course, talking about this one. I was like, okay, this one is an art. Get that album. Get to check out all the songs. Trust me, great music. I think I've listened to that particular album. It's one of its kind. That's the reason why I talked about, it being different from the rest of the album projects that he's done. I think this one is quite a unique and, of course, a very, very particular album. Okay, so judge for yourself. Well, he's given you a challenge. He dared you, okay? Judge for yourselves. If you think it's trash, well, send him an email. Talk to him on his social media platforms. And trust me, he's not going to insult you. You are going to have a conversation. Engage him. Get to tell him what you feel about his new project. And trust me, you will appreciate his works as well. Well, thank you so much for your time, ladies and gentlemen. Makitu will be back very, very soon. But for now, bye-bye.